And welcome into Curtis's Podcast Network and this AFC South show, number 114. And we're going to be breaking down the Saints-Jaguars game a little bit, giving our predictions. Not a lot, because Isaiah basically already did the heavy lifting in a short earlier today. Please go check it out. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so pump those numbers up. We're at 370 at the time of this recording. We're trying to get to 400 by next Monday to award the free tickets to the Jaguars-Panthers game on New Year's Eve in Duval County. So be one of the people who clicks that button, and you can be one of the people walking into Duval to watch the Pussy Pals get at each other. So, with me, as always, Jeffrey Steckel, our resident Colts fan, and Titan Fox, our substitute Titans fan. And but that doesn't mean that he's any lesser. It's always a pleasure to have both of you on, guys. So let's get into the Jags game a little bit. The Jags playing Thursday night football. It's going to be happening here in about an hour and a half, probably about 30 minutes by the time this thing comes out. But what are your thoughts? The Saints are favored right now by 2.5 points. The over-under is 40.5. Trevor Lawrence is playing, but Tyson Campbell's out. Devon Hamilton has not worked his way back into the lineup yet. And I'm pretty sure Brandon Scherf is playing. It didn't say definitively. But also no Zay Jones or Walker Little for the offense. So not necessarily a clean slate for the Jaguars, but they are playing in a little bit of a banged-up Saints roster. Derek Carr's not been exactly the healthiest quarterback the last couple weeks. I'm pretty sure Jameis Winston actually had to step in for him to finish a game. So, meh. The Texans beat them last week in a pretty phenomenal way. In one of those ugly games that you want to come out with a W, just by any means necessary. He throws his first pick, but hey, whatever. So who wants to dive on that grenade first?
Go ahead, yeah.
I guess. Yeah, this was a tough one, man. But I'm gonna go. I think I'm with Jacksonville. It pains me to say it, but I also kind of have the reverse psychology that maybe if I pick them, they'll lose. I do think they'll beat the Saints. I think it'll be. You said the over under was like what 40.5.
Yeah, 40.5.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably take like 23-20 Jacksonville, so a little bit over.
Okay.
I like Trevor Lawrence better than I like Carr.
I feel that. TF?
Yeah. I would agree with that statement, actually, even if they were both healthy. But being that I don't feel either one of them is technically healthy, they're probably just being tough guys. I got to go kind of take a look at the backups, look at the defenses, wide receivers and stuff. And I'm feeling like it's going to be slightly favored for the Saints personally. And for the QB reason as the primary reason. But I'm going to probably say tonight, just a kind of a slobber knocker, maybe 16-20 Saints. That's me.
Okay. 16-20, that's under for those who are keeping score at home. So I think the Jags have the potential with their offense if Trevor Lawrence is indeed healthy enough to play like himself, maybe a little limited in the mobility department, but assuming he's able to complete his whole throwing motion and nothing is really inhibited, um, I could see the Saints kind of getting boat raced in this game. They're not completely impervious to things. They have a couple uh, defensive players who are going to be missing this week's game that they're going to be sorely missed. So I think ETN would be a phenomenal play if you're looking for last minute advice on whether or not to play ETN, even though everybody's already saying spam that boy in your lineup. He just doesn't move. But score prediction. 34 to 13, Jacksonville.
Quick thing, Curtis.
Sir.
I took all those other things into account. I'm going to have to reverse mine. I'll keep the score the same, but I'm picking the Jags solely on ETN. The way he performed last week, the fact that given all of last year's stats and the first part of this year, the Saints' run defense has been relatively atrocious. I think they're going to take advantage of it with ETN. I gave it to the Jags. My bad.
You're good.
I completely forgot about him. He just drifted out of my mind. You know, I live in Jacksonville. I hate the Jaguars. You know,
Well,
it
look,
happens.
this season, the Saints haven't been a slouch in the run defense. They've been top 10, and Houston had their best rushing game, but it was like barely over 100 yards as a group, let alone, by one guy. It may not even have been 100. It may have been closer to 90 or something. But okay. Isaiah, in the short he released earlier, mentioned that his prediction is 31-17 Jacksonville, which squarely puts him in the over. And it looks like no matter what, everybody chose the Jags and everybody chose them to cover the spread. So that's clean sweep, baby boy. That's clean sweep. Jeff knows something about that.
Yeah, getting swept here.
Oh, man. Anyway. So let's get into the Colts hosting this Browns team. Defense, the best part of their team. Offense, definitely the bane of their existence. And I think that applies to both teams in this game. Yeah. So it's a game of what's got to give. Who gives first and who gives the most. They're saying Deshaun Watson could play. I'm not entirely sure if he will. I know he's been in kind of a prima donna the last several years, and there's some things you can't, massage the tension out of. But Jeff, let's talk about your Colts.
I know this isn't a summary of last week's game, but man, what an atrocious game from Minshew. And up to this point, he had been solid. So I don't know what was going on in that game. I don't know. He threw 3 picks and they were all ducks. They should have had like 3 or 4 more. So it's just, what version of this team are we going to get? And we have. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was, he was the rushing leader a couple years back. So he's one of the better backs in the league. And they barely ran him. So I don't know why. Like, I understand you're down, but Minshew passed like 55 times in the game, and that's just stupid. So the game plan is going to have to change. I mean, I said they needed to do what they did against Tennessee to beat them, and they did like the exact opposite. I don't know what they were doing. I mean, Zach Moss has been. I think if Zach Moss had played week 1, he would have been probably in the top 5 in rushing. So you have arguably one of the best running back duos, and you rush him a total of 15 times. So now I'm going to move past Jacksonville and kind of get to the point. You're going to have to control the clock. That's the team that you've got now. You don't have a pass first quarterback. Like he's not going to dominate a game. He's not going to do it. You've got it. He relies on the run. He relies on moving the sticks, and that's what he does. So you've got to run it. You know, I don't care if it's Taylor or Moss or a 50-50 split or hot hand. I don't really care what they're doing. But to beat the Browns, they're going to have to run the football. And like Josh Downs is going to be your guy in the passing game. He's had, at least from a fantasy perspective, he scored double digits the last couple of weeks. He found the end zone, and he's been targeted in the red zone. Let me see. Hold on, my stupid phone goes. I just had it. There we go. He's had 6 targets in the red zone. So he can be dangerous. And, he finally got in the end zone last week, and I think they're going to keep feeding him. I mean, he's been great on third down. I really like him. I like Pierce. He's hurt with his shoulder, but I think practiced. But I don't think that really makes a difference. He hasn't done much. It's just been kind of a disappointment to this point. Pittman, he does Pittman things. He's the sure-handed, reliable guy, and he's got a couple of deep passes too, where it probably should have been Pierce, but he hasn't been great. Unfortunately, I think it was Grover Stewart got popped with PED. Said, I know that I violated the apologies. So he's out for 6 weeks. It's a blow to the defensive line, but I think, dude, Ballard has built up so much depth on this D line. I mean, he was the best of the bunch, outside of Buckner, but I think they've got enough depth to where it's not that big of an impact. Dio and can't remember his name, but they've got a ton of depth, so I'm not that worried about it. And aside from, I think it was obviously Richardson's. Oh yeah, he had his season-ending shoulder surgery. He was gonna have it, so he's done.
That sucks.
Yep. I remember reading that report as like he might, and then over the next coming days it was like, yeah, they're leaning definitely towards this, and the Andrew Luck experience was the predominant prevailing reason why. And I was like, damn, they're learning from past mistakes.
That is true. It's more important to the long term.
For sure.
Yeah.
Especially this. I don't want to say, I mean, they're 3-3, so I can't say it's a lost season, but he was going to miss at least a few more weeks minimum. Minshew, I think, is more of a quarter. And I called him Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, he'll have moments of brilliance, and then just, what the fuck was that? So it just depends. And it's not a game by game either. It's a drive by drive. Like because their opening drive against Jacksonville I think he was 7 for 7. Like, he looked really good on the drive, and then it was just a train wreck after that. So it's just you never know what's going to happen. And it's because of that you got to run the football. As far as injuries, let me see. I got Braden Smith still hasn't participated. Hip and wrist issues. Alec Pierce practiced and limited. And I don't think this is a big blow, but our corner, Tony Brown, was a full participant. And Kylan Branson had a concussion. So he probably isn't going to go. Unless if he can clear, but they've been super cautious with that.
Yeah.
But the defense is going to have to get after, massage therapist or, whoever the hell the Browns do trot out. But I don't think Deshaun is anywhere near as good as Lamar. So if they can get after him like they did Lamar Jackson, I'm not too worried about Deshaun Watson. I'm not too concerned about him. It's just that Browns defense, man. You've got to tire him out. You got to maintain possession. You got to get first downs. You got to run. If he goes out there and passes another 50 times, we're not winning this game. But I think they changed the game plan. I think the Colts win it. It'll be like 17-13.
Okay.
And I'm only saying that because it's at home. Like, I'd probably flip it if it were if it were in Cleveland.
So significantly on the under, the over-under on this game is 40.5 as well. And the Cleveland Browns are favored by 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
TF, do you have a response?
Actually, I'm going to agree with Jeff wholeheartedly on the strategy that needs to be used. Obviously, nothing like what was done last week, but with you got Myles Garrett and you got Zadavian on the other side. You get these strong pass rushers that can kill you, especially kill Minshew if he's just standing back there. So you gotta neutralize that with a lot of runs. Plus, the Colts have. Sorry, the Colts have
You're coming to the
a
dark
really
side, buddy.
powerful running duo. Really powerful. I mean, trust me, I know it firsthand as Zach Moss just trampled all over us for close to 200 yards. But no, I with Jonathan Taylor coming back, he's looking like they need to feed him a little bit more. But it's a good balance, and of the two running backs, the defense is still looking good. They got a couple returning starters that weren't there 2 weeks ago when we played them, that I thought was going to be an advantage for us, and it didn't really benefit us that much. So I'm going to say if the coaching staff plays their cards right, and they do favor the run, control the clock, keep everything as close as possible, get those first downs. Because, Minshew is a game manager. I mean, just like Jeff said, you'll see flashes where you're like, dude, did he just do that? 50 yards down the field? Or where did this guy come from? And then, the next drive, he's like, 3rd and 5. Oh, he gets it 6 yards. Like, hey, that's the first down. That's called a game manager.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say if they do all of those things in tandem, then we're looking at a close, low-scoring game. I would say I'm gonna go 18-15. I know that's a strange score. You don't usually hear those numbers, but 18-15.
Lots of field goals.
18-15 Colts.
Yep.
A little bit to me is kind of the play calling. Steichen's kind of a rookie head coach, but he was calling the offense with Philly, so I'm not really understanding the logic. There was a play he hit Jonathan Taylor on a great pass. I think it went for 40 yards. It was the biggest play of the day. And the next 2 plays were a crappy pass by Minshew that should have been intercepted, and then the following pass was picked off. What? what are you even doing? And then I think we were down 18, and I think I texted it to the group. We were down 18. He elected to go for it on 4th and 5, didn't get it. And then I think the defense held up, got the ball back, got a touchdown. And I'm like, okay, so instead of it being, an 11-point game, it'd be an 8-point game. Take the fucking points. If you're on their 45, you're kind of in no man's land. I get it. Go for it. It's too far for the field goal, too close for. I understand it. We've been so terrible on 4th down. Take the points. Just saying, an 8-point game is a lot different than an 11-point.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Take the points.
Wow. I think I'm about to have to speak a lot of reason real quick. So the Cleveland Browns are going to win this game, and here's why. The defense is going to do more than enough to stifle Gardner Minshew when he has to throw the ball. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a blowout by any means, but it's going to feel like a blowout. I'm going to go with the under, so I'm going to agree with both of you on that, but I'm going to say it's 20-3 Cleveland.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the Cleveland Browns defense has enough answers to what the Colts can do to be able to answer the question when Gardner raises his hand. So there is a world to me where the Colts win this game and Gardner Minshew pulls one of those miraculous, Ryan Fitzpatrick genius moments and does one of those things that you guys have talked about. However, I feel like that's the least likely option of all these things. This is a defense that was able to not only prop up but maintain a close game with one of the most explosive offenses in the league in terms of running and throwing the ball. Not necessarily that Brock Purdy is just dotting everybody up. They just got everybody in the world at their disposal with some wheels, and they're not afraid of contact. These guys are going to find the end zone. And they managed to hold those guys under 20 points and wound up winning that game. Am I going to sit here and not acknowledge that that team is definitely in a better spot than the Colts are? I mean, the Colts are not the 49ers in terms of talent on both sides of the ball. That's not to say the Colts don't have talent, and not to say that they couldn't get there. Just at this moment, 20-3 feels right. And I know that's violence.
I get your logic. And the 49ers are a much better team than most of the other teams, not just the Colts. But this is a Colts team that has a tendency to somehow play up to teams that they shouldn't beat and kind of play down. Like, okay, last year they beat the Chiefs, like inexplicably. They had no business winning the game. They won the game. And then I think they came out the next week and looked like absolute dung shit against a team they probably should have beat. Like, it's just
right. But this is the Cleveland Browns. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
They're the same team. Who knows?
They're the same team as the Colts. That brings the problem therein, because it's not the Kansas City Chiefs.
Who's gonna suck worse?
Exactly. And when you're sitting here and telling me that I could either be watching PJ Walker or Deshaun Watson on one side of the ball or Gardner Minshew, I'm expecting not a lot of great quarterback play. I'm expecting a couple, sexual assault charges with at least one of them, but not great quarterback play at this stage. Maybe in Houston, one of them would have done something, but
and
mostly just a massage thing.
All these Colts fans, stop calling for Sam Ellinger. Stop it. Just stop it. It's in all the. Oh, why not give him a chance, bro?
Do you remember last
two seasons? Stop it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this one for Isaiah.
Okay.
I do hear that Joe Flacco is available. It might still happen.
You could call Matt Ryan back.
He's not retired. He didn't retire so he get his bonus.
Yeah. Well, Isaiah also chose the Cleveland Browns. He didn't give me a score prediction, but that's fine. That was a big lightning strike.
Oh, there's the thunder.
Yeah. I literally saw it out of like 3 different windows at the same time. I was like, oh, that's going to be fun. But yeah, Isaiah chose the Browns, and I tend to agree with him on this one. So we all also agree that the Titans have lost already in this bye week. So no, I'm just playing. But,
no, seriously, when you said that, there is a lot to be determined during this bye week of how much we might actually possibly lose with the trade deadline coming up. I mean, what if they trade Henry or Nico Autry or Kevin Byard or one of these people on expiring contracts? This could be a whole different team by the time, 2 weeks from now or a week and a half.
I feel you on that. Colts rumor mill is they're shopping Pittman. I'm like, is Downs going to be the number
Pittman.
1?
Pittman's a good receiver.
He's had like 9 different quarterbacks throwing to him, and he's still been productive. Let's see what he can actually do with a steady. It's frustrating. Every quarterback that he's had to run like 5-yard slants just to pick up yards and receptions. Like, can we get one? Can we finally get a young quarterback and he gets hurt? Dang it! Now we're back to checkdowns.
Yeah, when you said 9 different quarterbacks, all I could think of was how long Devontae Adams was with Rodgers and how connected they were. He was just so explosive, always getting targeted. Goes over to the Raiders, and he's like on social media complaining about the fact that he's getting an average of maybe 3-4 catches a game, and he's like, "What? You don't have that connection with your quarterback. Imagine going through 9 of them."
I thought it was going to be fucking hilarious if he threw another stink and then tried to go to the Jets. That would have been amazing.
Have you heard that Aaron Rodgers is trying to make a comeback this season?
Yeah, he is.
Apparently,
Yeah,
he did.
if he does, PEDs. I'm just saying.
No, he did an experimental surgery that has never been done before for an Achilles surgery, and apparently it was very successful. He was actually throwing on the field for practice before last game.
Yeah, he was. And he was also wearing a headset on the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, just regular street clothes, but he was still wearing a headset helping to call the games because he has a feeling he's coming back.
Yeah. Literally, there's a good chance that like
It'll be a while, but
yeah, December, like late December maybe.
For sure.
But
I love the eyebrow curl from Jeff.
He's not if the Jets are not going to push for the playoffs.
Yeah.
No,
I mean he won't if the Jets are abysmal, and for whatever reason they'll lose all the games that are like, oh, this team is within reach, and then they'll win the games against teams that they have no business beating.
Hey, maybe the Jets will pull a miracle and trade for Tannehill.
Yeah, well, they did also trade or lose to the Chiefs, and they beat the Bills week 1, and they beat the Eagles. It's the only loss they have.
Oh, the Jets beat the Eagles. I forgot that they played the Eagles.
I know it's the only loss, but they just haven't been playing like themselves, like what we expected at the beginning of the season, in my opinion.
I think that's just a reflection of like how training camp is soft, and you don't see a lot of these dudes playing in the preseason. So the first month of the season is really just such a everybody getting in game shape kind of thing.
I'm wondering if they should like just ramp up how much teams are allowed to practice and then get rid of the preseason games. Like none of these players are playing in preseason. Titans are notorious. Tannehill doesn't play. Henry doesn't.
We always lose game 1.
Yeah, and it's like, well, they come out and they're cold. You get a lot of like hamstring injuries and shit like that in week 1. They're pulling muscles. Like, maybe let them ramp up the practices because they're not going to play in the preseason.
Yeah, but that's a coaching decision too. And practices, as good as they are, playing against your own teammates, you do that 4 times a week anyways. So those people. It's getting the mixes of another team, but you got to like put them in at least a quarter for each preseason game. That's what I would do. Warm everybody up, all your starters.
Not only have I seen trade speculation posts about Ryan Tannehill, I've seen them about the Cowboys calling about Derrick Henry and offering a second-round draft pick. Yeah.
They're not happy with Pollard?
I don't know, but the Cowboys be calling. They're trying
Do you happen to remember the source on the second-round offer from Dallas?
I don't.
Okay.
Ready to accept.
The only reason I'm saying is
on the thing.
I wouldn't take anything less than a second, and I want some sort of gravy on top of it. If it's Derrick Henry's time, it's a business. I don't want him to go, but I understand in a business, you got to make business decisions. So
already shopping Derrick Henry, man.
There was also apparent phone calls being made from a certain Kansas City organization about a certain number 10 wide receiver.
Was it Judy?
For the Titans.
D-Hop.
Oh, D-Hop.
Yep. And reportedly it was as high as a third-round draft pick is what they're offering.
We sign him, he gets 6 games, and we're like, okay, well, that was good enough.
Bye.
Bye, AJ Brown. Bye.
I've never heard of anybody. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I think the Chiefs traded somebody to the Jets that's getting traded back to the Chiefs.
No, they didn't trade him. They just didn't sign him in the offseason.
He got picked up, and now they're trading him back for like a low-end draft pick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't read the whole article.
It was Mecole Hardman.
Mecole Hardman, yeah.
Because they only used him. He's only played in like 3 games and has only run like 30 routes.
Yeah.
He would be like the best receiver in the Chiefs.
Yes.
Yeah, I know the Colts were looking at Jerry Jeudy. That's what I thought you were talking about. But I don't know. I doubt anything's going to materialize that way.
I don't think Judy would be a good
They were
option.
asking. Not with Minshew.
No, and the Texans have been having some trade speculation about a certain gentleman who's an edge rusher for the Washington Commanders, certain young man from Ohio State, Chase Young.
Ooh,
Now, here's
that's
the problem.
interesting.
Here's the problem. From draft day until today, he's missed 26 games in his career. 22 of that was off of one injury, and then he missed 4 games to start the season this year.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of a possible, what was that, like, I don't know, fucking 50 some odd games. He's missed a little over half.
So basically, Treylon Burks or Kyle Phillips of their team.
Yeah, essentially. And the Texans fan base is like, oh, we need to get Chase Young. And I'm like, no, what? That dude's a walking IR spot. Like, what are you
I did see your comment on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, bro, just look at his injury history. He cannot stay healthy. He's a freak athlete. That's the biggest problem with him. He's a freak athlete. His body's not necessarily evolved for it. It's just he can run fast. Who cares? I don't care.
Yeah, that would be like somebody calling for us to trade them Caleb Murphy.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's played like 6 games out of a possible like 40. No.
Farley is,
but he was a freakish athlete in college. Like, he did things that I thought, oh wow, maybe he's worth the risk. But no, he just best ability is availability.
Yeah,
that's what they all say.
Well, next week will be the final episode in this setup of my office. I'll be moving. So the reaction pod will be the last time I do a pod with this setup until Thursday, because I'll be moving Wednesday and Thursday with hopes that the internet is functional the day I move in.
Oh, you like moving to a totally different place? I thought you were like shifting your office.
No, I'm basically like across town.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I offered to help. I'm a little far away, though.
Just a little bit. It's fine, though. I appreciate the offer.
I don't know if anybody has their contrast turned down, but on my screen, if it weren't for the lighting to Curtis's right, it looks like he doesn't even have a shoulder because he's wearing a black shirt on a black background.
That's right. I have no shoulder. I had a horrible accident. Thank you for pointing out.
Quasimodo trying to hide his identity.
Can't tell what's there and what's not. You just see the AFC South show waving in the wind.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, I think we've come to a good end here. I want to thank you both for your time. Thank you both for talking about your teams. Thank you, guys. Go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000. The ultimate goal of by next Monday, 400. If you help us get there, you can enter in a chance to win free tickets to the Panthers and Jaguars game on New Year's Eve in Jacksonville. And you should do it. So go ahead, subscribe, comment if you have anything you want to say, even if it's how weird the black on black is up here. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So, yeah.
I have one thing to say real quick.
Hit me.
Just for everybody who may be a Jags fan that's out of state or, up north or anything like that, still a fan of the AFC South, even if you're a Colts fan. Subscribing to this show.
The most likely thing.
That's the 400. Seriously, think about New Year's Eve, how cold it's going to be up north, and how warm it's going to be in Jacksonville.
Hey,
take a vacation New Year's Eve.
We're talking vacation, baby.
Eastern time zone. You got the beach a couple hours away. There's the retirement center that is Jacksonville. I mean, there's other things in Jacksonville. Rats.
They got rid of those. They got rid of them.
Sorry, emotional support mice. Hotels, probably. I'm willing to bet there's at least one place you can go kart. Sorry, you can probably golf cart somewhere too. But
Yeah, pretty much everywhere. And I've been here 20 years, never seen a single rat. I don't know where that came from, but it was funny as hell.
In the stadium, they had rat issues in the concessions.
Yeah. There you go. That's a stadium.
Yeah.
Emotional support mice.
They took care of the rats in the stadium. It's gone now. And they were emotional support mice, apparently. So you can't.
And the little jackets on.
And the booties, the little booties. Oh man! All right, we're gonna get out of here before we get canceled. Y'all be good.